Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. Welcome to another Chit Chat Tuesday. So before we get into this, I think I should explain why I'm asking you the question about whether I should actually cut it up. So we're talking about my embroidery collection today. I'm having a little sort through it and I need to decide what I put in it, what I don't put in it, what I leave out and what I can maybe utilise for another project. So perhaps that you can help me with this. So I should mention at this point, this isn't things that I have made. They are in another storage unit at the other end of the studio. So these are things that other people have made. So some of them people have gifted to me. Some of them are old, some of them are new. Some of them I have found in shops or I found online or I've got from my travels when I've been on my travels and I've collected things from my travels and I've put them all in a box. And at the minute, they're all in this big plastic box. I'm going to pick it up and attempt to show you. So most of it, it's heavy, most of it is in that box. Now there are some things that aren't, which is part of the problem because they don't fit in the box. So what I need to do, I think, is to get everything out of there. I need to sort it out properly and I need to protect it and store it correctly. So that is what I am going to do today. So I thought while I was doing that, I would have a little delve in there and show you a few different things. Now, some of them are literally lying around my studio and I've bought things to use in video. So I've either thought of a video that I want to do, gone off down a rabbit hole and I thought, oh, that'd be really good. Have I got anything that demonstrates that and haven't? Or some things I've bought the item and I thought, oh, that would make a really good video. So obviously the most recent one was the little Chinese purse. We've seen this quite a lot in videos recently. We've been doing the Pekin knot and I didn't have anything with Pekin knots and I just thought I'll have a little look online, see if there's anything that's got Pekin knots in it. And I found this beautiful little purse covered in Pekin knots. So sometimes it's been really great to make videos from, but they are just lying around on my desk. So that's been around on my desk ever since I made those videos. I've got one more video to make on that. We're going to look at different knots and compare different knotted stitches. So it's going to stay out for a bit longer, but it's obviously not great lying around on my desk. And when I bought that, I found some other little bits. I'm going to show you that as well because this is also hanging around on my desk. So this is beautiful little beetle wing embroidery. So from the 1800s, they would adorn dresses with these wings, actual beetle wings. And I thought that was really beautiful. It's got a bit of handmade lace around the edge as well, really amazing condition. So I bought that as well. I've got another piece of this. It's actually hanging up on my curtain, I don't think. Can't quite see it. It's a bit far away, but maybe I should take that down as well. It's not really a great place to hang it. So I bought that little piece as well, but again, just hanging around on the table in purple tissue paper, which is not good for it. There needs to be some acid-free tissue paper. I'm pretty sure the purple tissue paper is not acid-free. So yeah, things are hanging around on my desk. I need to put them away. I need to store them correctly and look after them because some of them are old. I don't think this purse is mega old, but it is a little bit fragile and it really needs storing correctly. So I'm going to do that. But as I had a little look through it earlier, sort of finding things in there that I'm like, should this really be in the collection? Some things are new, but they're quite unusual, so I thought maybe I'll keep those in. But there are definitely some things in here that I'm not sure about. So if I go through a few and just pick out a couple and show you, maybe you can help me make a decision. So I'm going to have a little root around. It's going to be a bit rustly, so I'm not going to talk while I do it. So if Jonathan wants to turn the volume down on the rustling, he can do that. So let's have a little delve in and see what we can find. No, that's not your cue to get on my lap. Sorry, mate. Oh, not today, sorry. So I've got things in bags, plastic bags. I'm not going to show you the plastic bag, you know what that looks like, but they're just folded up and they're in bags and they're in envelopes. So I need to decide whether I keep these in there. Now these are new pieces and these were given to me by my lovely friend Gautam, who I went travelling with in India. Gautam was our guide on a textile tour around Gujarat. You can see a video with Gautam. He came to visit us and we got all these amazing textiles out and we had a little look at them in the garden and he talked all about them and the history of them. So that's really fascinating if you're interested in this kind of thing. And he gave me lots of little bits and bobs as well, which absolutely beautiful. So these are new things. They would have been made to turn into other things. things. So they're not kind of old, but they're quite sort of important to me as they were a gift and as they were handmade, and as they were a reminder of my travels and etc, etc. Not things that are easy to get. So do I keep these things in the collection? I think I will. Some of them are just samples, so they would have been started to make dress panels, but they were never finished. So I've got kind of unfinished things. Now I do like a little bit of slow stitching, as you may know. So some kind of things I'm looking at thinking, would they be good for slow stitching? Do I actually use some of the embroidery and I could make book covers and I could add some extra stitching on it? Or is that a little bit not okay? I'm trying to think of the right word. It's another little bit, look. So it's just been stitched on this great big bit of fabric. Would have been something, but that's as far as it's got. So there's beautiful little bits of embroidery, but they're not actually a finished thing. They're not particularly old. They're not old at all. They're new, these ones. This one is a bit older, I think. It's got a strange little bit on the bottom. So were they trying things out? Was that going to be something else? So I've got loads of these little bits and bobs, and they're all just stuck in a plastic bag. So I need to make a decision. Do I reuse? You know, they're not really anything as they are. So do I have this collection of beautiful embroideries from India, or do I utilise some of them? So I've got that decision to make. So there's a big, God, loads of them. They're beautiful. So let's put those back, see what else we've got. So there are literally loads of these. There's some more there. Those are dowry embroideries. That's a whole set that's wrapped up in some tissue paper there. I've got some clothing, some embroidered clothing, again in a plastic bag. Not good, shouldn't put things in a plastic bag. So there's literally tons of this stuff. I've got things in paper bags. This is in a Jorvik Viking Centre bag. If you live in the north of England, you'll know what that is. And these were gifted to me by my sister's mother-in-law. These were from, let's put the bag down. So a couple of pieces I think she actually stitched. So this is a CC work, so it's like reverse cross stitch. So you cross stitch around the outside and the motif is left plain, but just all the background is stitched on this. So there's a couple of pieces here. This looks like a hanging. It's got a little slot at the top for a hanging. What's interesting about this look is it's red on the back and faded on the front. So the red has faded out of it. So there's a couple of pieces of those. Now this has been wrapped around a cardboard tube. Not good either. That won't be acid free, that cardboard tube, and that can damage it. You can start to get the rust spots on your embroidery. We do have a whole video about how to care for your embroideries if you're worried about what happens to yours in the future and how it will last, and you want to make it last longer, or you've got some older pieces you want to protect. Do check that video out to talk about some different ways that you can look after your embroideries. So I've got some older embroideries as well. See the shisha mirrors, we've looked at this in a video previous as well. This one is quite delicate. It's wrapped in tissue paper, but it's got no support, so it's getting a bit crushed with the other things in the box. So I think I need to find something flat to put it on, and then I need to wrap it up in tissue paper as well to protect it. So some things are a little bit fragile. Big pile unembroidered tablecloths. Somebody gave me these as well. I think they were from her mother's collection. So I think this is a cushion cover. So it's got a pre-printed embroidery design on it. And so to stitch all that and you make it into a cushion cover. And again, there are loads of those. There's a whole pile of them. They're very beautiful. The fabric's gorgeous. The fabric's linen and the designs are beautiful, all printed on. You're meant to cut these pieces out, you embroider them, and you cut the little sections out and you make these tablecloths, but they go on and on. So not something I think needs to stay in the collection, but what do I do with it? I'm not going to stitch them. Lifetime's work there. So they're very beautiful. So I could either pass them on if anybody else is interested in stitching them, or I could use the fabric and I could do some slow stitching, or could make some packs up. So lots of, there's one that's partly started there. Really horrible 1970s colours. So some of them have been part worked, so yeah, there's another one there as well. And a big massive tablecloth. I mean, they're beautiful, you know, they would make absolutely stunning finished pieces. if you can see the design on it. So a big pile of those. So old, vintage certainly, maybe older than that. Now I'm not going to stitch them, so don't know what to do with those. Maybe you could help me out with that one, which of course does ask an interesting question as to what's old. I'll let you discuss that. Vintage, I think, is supposed to be over 25 years old, I think, is vintage. So this stuff is all certainly vintage. So this was a piece I bought to literally demonstrate something for a video. We were talking about canvas work and tramé, I think, and petit point versus canvas work. So that's petit point in the middle and it's canvas work on the outside. So I bought this one. It was cheap. It was off eBay, I think, just to demonstrate a point in that video. But you know, it's vintage. Again, it's finished. There's a lot of work in it. So do I just keep it rolled up in there and keep it in the collection? I do want to do a video on how to stretch your canvases. I know a few people have asked for this, how to block your canvases. This would be a good one because it isn't square. So this will be a good one to demonstrate on. So maybe that one will come out again for another video, but I'll just leave it rolled up in the collection for now. I've got bits of things just literally floating around in the box. So this was a top, which all that's gold embroidery, look at that, but not old, and I made it into a little bag. I started to make it into a bag and that was as far as I got. So some of these pieces, which is why I'm asking the question, should I cut some of these things up, and that one especially that we're going to talk about in a second, you know, how much do you keep it and put it away in a box and you never look at it again, or do you get it out and do you use it and do you turn it into something else that can be seen and can be used? This one I've obviously started, it's still got a pin in it, which is not good. Can take the pins out. So do I finish it or do I repurpose it? Oh, I don't know, but certainly lying around in the box isn't doing it any good. Definitely going to show you these. Look at these shoes. Covered in gold work, cut work embroidery with pearls. Don't know how old these are, but I would say these are older than vintage, definitely. Got little velvet heels on them, they're velvet inside, so really beautiful. Little set of shoes there, so those are just kept in a box. They've got bubble wrap in them, plastic not good, so they need to come out of the box, they need to wrap them properly. And I think I need to label things as well, so I'll talk a little bit about how I'm going to store it in a minute, just when we finished having a little look through. So I've got some new things in the collection that I've bought as well. So this is a set of handkerchiefs, and I bought these when we went to Venice a couple of years ago. So the island of Burano is famous for Venetian lace, and I bought these in a little shop there. They're absolutely stunning. That's a white work technique. Draw out the threads and you wrap back around the threads, so they're absolutely beautiful. There's a little bit there as well. I bought ones with S's on. My initials on an H, look. So they're really beautiful. They are brand new, but they're kind of something that was special. They were from a special place. I'm not going to use them as handkerchiefs. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use these in any slow stitching. So even though they're new, obviously one day they will be old. Somebody found my collection in 100 years time, they'll be 100 years old. So I'm going to keep those in there, and I'm going to keep them all wrapped up and nice in there. They're in the original paper as well that I actually bought them in, that says Burano Venice on it. So I think I'm going to wrap those back up. So I need to again think about labelling these. I know where these come from, I know the provenance and the history, so I should keep a record of it. So I've got to somehow think about how I do that, and how I keep a record of what's in here, because often you get to collections and people don't know what they are and they don't know history of them, and you have to kind of work it out yourself. So if I know what it is, I should really be recording it. So a few of these pieces we have had a look at on our channel members and our Patreon pages. We've had a little delve in here a couple of times and pulled some things out. This is one of them, so if you're interested to know about this one and have a closer look at this one, that one is on our channel member and our Patreon pages, so you can find that one on there, and there's a couple of others as well. So another one that's staying in the collection, part worked, and what's happened to the bottom. And then I've got this one in here. I'm not going to unwrap this one, because this one is super delicate. I think I have had it out I think it was in the video about how to look after your embroideries. I had this one out and I took some pictures of it, and then I put it away thinking I can't get this out again because it's got beads all over it. So it's a piece of canvas work, it's a footstool cover, and it had lots of beaded roses on it, and every time I unroll it the beads fall off at a large rate. So I'm not even going to unroll that one. So I've got some stuff in here that I can't really get out either. So that one is wrapped up securely. It has got a rubber band around it, but it is in acid-free tissue paper. So some of it is super delicate and won't ever be able to come out very often. So again, I don't know what I can do with that. It's not in a good state, it's not clean. Beads are falling off. I don't know what to do with it. And there's lots of little bits floating around the bottom. There's quite a bit more stuff in there, but we'll not save that for another channel member and Patreon video if you're interested to see in the collection and have a closer look at some of these pieces. But this is really interesting. So this is a receipt for a sewing machine from my grandmother. I think Caroline might have the sewing machine, or maybe it's gone now, but what's the date? 1931. Mrs. Homfray, my grandmother, in Wolverhampton. Singer sewing machine, number on it, style, received by cash, £2. £2 for a brand new sewing machine, and I've still got the original receipt, and it's absolutely pristine. So there's some other things as well that aren't embroidery related but are stitching related, so that's quite nice to keep in there. And I've got little things in, but I don't even know what's in some of this. Oh, little beaded tiny beaded purse, no money in it, tiny little beaded purse. So there's some real treasures in here, and they're just floating around the bottom of the box. So again, a good reason to sort it out. And then I want to show you these, because these are another problem piece. So I bought these at a stitching show. I think they were on the Embroiderers Guild stand, and they often, I think, root through their collection and find either they've been given things, they've probably given lots of collections as what do I do with it, and they made up little bags, and you can buy a little bag of stuff, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So just little trimmings off things, but really beautiful. It's beads and silver thread, looks like a passing thread, and beads. I don't know if you can see it shining. So loads of this sort of stuff. Little bits here as well. So do I keep this? Is this worth keeping in a collection as something old? I don't know what it's off, I don't know how old it is. They're just little sort of random pieces. They would make some beautiful slave stitching pieces. So do I keep them as something old? Are they worth something in the future as part of a collection, or do I just throw caution to the wind and do I use them? So there's loads of little bits like that. Some blue ones as well with some gold embroidery on them. So quite a few pieces like this in here floating around that could be used. So I think maybe I'll leave them out. Let me know what you think. What would you do with it? Would you save it forever? You could frame it, put it on the wall, I suppose. Yeah, let me know what you think. Right, so as I said, there was more stuff in there. It's a little treasure trove of delights, but we may save that for some other videos. So let's talk about this piece. Now this one obviously doesn't fit in my plastic box, so I'm going to talk about this in a second over here. So this, somebody gave me this a long time ago, don't know anything about it. I'm just going to unroll a little bit of it. Really beautiful fabric. So what it is, these are all hand stitched, definitely hand stitched, but they're appliqued onto this background. Now this background is a silk, it's green silk, and you can see it's not in good condition. It is going rotten, the silk, but the flowers have actually been applied onto there. Let's see if I can show you a little bit better. There we go. So you can see this edge, it looks like it's been cut down there. It's a very even cut down there, but just at this edge is a good way of telling how something's made. Can you see that? So the flowers have actually been applied onto the green silk. So they have been stitched before, they've been cut out, they've been put on, and they've been sewn onto this silk, and then these green stems have actually been stitched. So the green is stitched through it, you can see the stitching on the back there, and the flowers have all been applied on there. So I don't know if this would have been dress fabric, so does that make it quite rare? I don't know. And and it's in such a bad state you can't use it for anything. There's quite a bit of it, probably at least a metre of it. There is some mould marks on it as well. Obviously this green is just disintegrating, but it's really beautiful. So I'm kind of thinking, do I wrap it up, roll it up, keep it away for a rainy day? Maybe something will come of it. Is it important for me to keep? Should I find out more about it? Or should I cut it up and use it? Now the reason I say that is because last weekend I went on a course, went up to Newcastle, up to Northumberland, and I went on a course with a lady called Mandy Patullo. I'd just like to say hi to Helen and Jill as well, who were on the course and they watched the channel. So hi to you both. It was lovely to meet you both. Hope you enjoyed the course. But Mandy, she uses nothing but old fabrics, vintage and antique fabrics, and she uses that in her textile pieces, and she doesn't use anything new. She uses only old, and will rip up literally really old pieces of fabric and embroidery. And I'm kind of like, oh, how do you do that? And I actually asked her, what's the secret of being able to do that? And she said, you just have to do it. She said, just do it. She says, I won't be able to use all the things in your lifetime, and you've got this piece. It's not a beautiful example because it's in a bad state of repair. You can't do anything with it. So she says, just rip it up. And she was ripping up pieces like this and using them when her embroidery and repurposing them. So some people will be sucking in their breath at that point, oh, you can't do that, you have to save it. And then other people who were like Mandy and followers of Mandy, who like to do that kind of work, reuse it. So do I do that? And I've been thinking about that for a while with this piece, because it just gets rolled up, it goes back in the box. I talk about it occasionally on a video, but I don't know what it is. Do I try and find out more about it? I don't know what to do. So let me know what you think. I appreciate this might be controversial. And if you know anything about what it might be, I will put some images of it on my social media pages. So on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. And if you've got any ideas on the YouTube channel, community page as well. So if you've got any ideas, please do jump on there and let me know. I'll put some close-ups so you can see the stitching a little bit close and you can see the techniques used. So if somebody jumps on there and says it's 300 years old and it's really important and it's off a dress, don't rip it up, then I won't. If we don't know what it is, I might take it apart. It has also got a great big long rip down the middle here, and obviously this bit here, so I could even just take a bit of it off and use a little bit and keep the rest for prosperity. So yeah, I eagerly await your comments to let me know what to do with that and how I should proceed. So that's not the only piece I have that problem with. I do tend to buy some things, fabrics, and think, oh, that'd be great, I'll cut that up and use it. This is another one up here. This is a piece of Japanese boro behind me, made of sections of old beautiful fabrics from Japan, and they would put them together and reuse them and make them into hangings and floor coverings and quilts and things. And I bought that with intention, taking it apart. I did a whole video on that. That's on my other channel, Sarah Homfray Creates. So go and have a look at that one if you're interested in that. And again, I asked people for their ideas, and that was very divisive. So, oh no, don't, you've got to leave it as it is. Don't cut it up. And somebody else said, yeah, you know, use it and you could do this with it and you could do that with it. I have taken a little bit of the panels off there. I've undone a couple of them, and even finding those precious, oh, I don't know if I can use them, and I've already taken it apart. So I have a lot of pieces around like that. What am I going to do with all that fabric? You know, I'm not got enough hours in the day, not got a long enough lifetime to do everything with all these pieces. So do I just take it apart and use it? I did think a class in it would be brilliant. I'd love to do a class on this collection and get a collection out. We could have a little look at it, and we could have a look at some of the techniques on how we could do things with it. So there is quite a little bit of this lying around, this sort of problem that I have. I buy these things with the idea that I will take them apart, and then I haven't got the courage to. So let me know, do I need a bit more courage, or do I leave them as they are? So for the things I am going to keep, they can't stay in the plastic box. So I have bought a box, a huge box. It's enormous. So this is a special archival box. So it's acid free. It's really, really strong, and it is made for this exactly this kind of thing. So I will put a link in the description as to where I got this box. So if you want some, there are smaller sizes, you don't have to have this size. The reason I got this size is for my beautiful chenille and gold panels. You can see that in my chenille videos on the channel. They are over there at the minute. They're too fragile really to get out and show you, but you can check out the video on that. And I wanted something I could put those in without them getting folded, and this was the only size that I could get them in. Where I'm going to put the box, I don't know. Where I'm going to put it at the minute, but my idea is to take these things out that I know I'm going to put in there. My little silk bag's going to go in there, and yeah, many of these other things that I've shown you, and I'm going to wrap them up properly. So I'm going to wrap them in acid-free tissue paper that will protect them from going mouldy and getting the iron mould stains on them. So everything's going to be wrapped in that. So this is the little bag I made for the Chinese silk purse. So I've made a sort of a bag shape out of it. If I just wrap everything in tissue, as you can see, it just gets a mess. I unwrap it and you don't want to see the floor behind me, you really don't. It's all over the place now. So I made little bags out of it, and this is how I look after my normal the cats here. My normal embroidery is to protect them, and I've got a little bag and I can get it in and out easily, and I put a little label on it, stuck it on the outside so it's not touching the embroidery, so it says what's in it. So the idea is I can get this piece out, I can look and see what's in it, and I don't have to unwrap anything going what's in it like I've been doing today. And then I need to keep a record of that as well. I think I need some sort of system that says what's in the box. So I think if I list it and write down what I know about it, and I put it with the items in the box, so everything is protected, everything's got a history and a provenance to it that I know about, and then there's none of this looking and going, what do you think this is? Which is quite exciting to do that, to have a look and see if you can work out what something is, but it'd be nicer if you actually knew the history of it. So that is my job. It's going to take me quite a while to do that, especially it's all strewn over the floor. So now's a good time to start. So let me know your thoughts. What should I keep? What shouldn't I keep? Is it okay to reuse pieces, or should I be keeping it for prosperity, keeping it for the future and the history of embroidery, so that somebody else could enjoy this collection too? Okay, so that's it for this Chit Chat Tuesday. Ginger Cat's come visiting. I think he's trying to tell me it's lunchtime, so I'm going to go and find the cat some food, and I'm going to start clearing up this mess. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Look forward to seeing what your comments are, seeing what you think. I will see you next time. Bye for now.